Hello, welcome to another episode of Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, writer for ScreenRant.com and huge manga fan, even though I write mostly video game stuff. But today we're here to talk about Chainsaw Man, both the anime and chapter 114. But if you are worried about manga spoilers, don't worry, you can relax, kick back, because we're going to talk about the anime in the first chunk without spoiling it. Or spoiling, what happens in the series later on. And then if you want to go and check in the description, you can listen all the way up until that point, and then we'll start talking about manga and full spoilers and all that stuff. So, welcome to Manga Mondays. I got a couple buddies here to talk about new Chainsaw Man with me today. Ben, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm Ben. I'm also a writer for Screen Rant for the anime, manga, and comic sections, and I'm excited to talk about the episode as it was pretty fun.
Yeah, the episode, the chapter.
Oh, the chapter was great, but
just all of it, yeah.
But I can't spoil that it was great for the anime only.
So crap! I've let everybody down. Damn. Sorry, everybody. But we got a couple other buddies with us today. Kind of a new guest for our Chainsaw Man podcast. He's been a great guest on our Boruto podcast. But Todd, how you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks for having me, as always. Yeah, and like Jason said, you might know me from the Boruto podcast. I just binge read all of Chainsaw Man and caught up on the anime, and now here I am, ready to talk about it.
One of us.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, especially from the perspective of somebody who just ran through all of it. When it first came out, yeah, what a journey. I kind of got into Chainsaw Man when it was like getting to its final chapters of part one anyway. So when I started reading it, it was one of the first mangas that I had been like, okay, this is kind of good. And just suddenly like, holy crap, I just read 30 chapters in a day. This is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. That day was 30 chapters.
Hell yeah. Well, before we dive into it, Steven, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, good. Yeah, my name is Steven. Write for the comics, anime, manga section, as well as interviews whenever some cool celebrities I want to talk to jump in. But yeah, Chainsaw Man. Let's talk about Chainsaw Man.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and dive right in. Fresh off of watching the episode, another great one. I some of my favorite bits. I loved Denji and Power's training. Power is always consistently one of my favorite characters throughout the entire series, and probably one of my favorite bits of this episode was their teacher pretty much being like, "All right, well, I think we can start moving into just once a week training instead of daily training." And they're both just so exhausted and passed out. There's like, yay! Just those little bits of comedy that the manga is not exactly able to do, just with the cadence and the energy of the characters. But we also got some more reasons to be absolutely terrified of Makima. It was actually right when she's about to talk to a supposed Yakuza boss in a shed, or kind of in a little house on a lake. I was just like, oh man, we haven't gotten that one scene with the eyes yet, have we? Oh, I don't know. They might not do it. And then it instantly jumped into that. I was like, oh, this is when it happens. Awesome. But yeah, she apparently took all the eyes of their loved ones off camera. Yeah, geez.
Would have loved to see that in real time, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that wasn't in the manga either. So
yeah. Well, that was one thing I didn't bring up in the last chat about the episode. I don't know if it was this last episode or the one before it, but it was when the convicts were on their way to Makima. Like she requested like 30 death row inmates, so then she could do her ridiculously powerful technique that like reaches hundreds of miles away. But I don't remember the scene in the manga where it like cut to the convicts eating food in the back of the truck, and they're just like, "Where are we going?" And the guards are like, "Shut up, don't talk."
They put a couple anime-only scenes in different places. I'm pretty sure the scene where she like puts her shirt in, like tucks it in, and gets dressed in clean clothes. I'm pretty sure that was also an anime original. Although I could be wrong.
That would make sense. I love it when they do that. most of the time. Some animes take a little bit too much liberties, and you're just like, that felt out of place.
That sounds like they needed to get up the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great episode. We're starting to set up, the next big conflict that is about to happen. I personally think the cliffhanger made it hard to talk about some stuff, especially with Aki. I was really disappointed that it cut right then and there because, I won't spoil how that fight ends, but there's not a lot left to it.
I'm greatly worried for Aki.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
looking good. And especially after he got his cool future powers. And as we heard from the Future Devil, the future rules,
Yes.
Which one of the I forgot which one, but one of the guys from the Screen Rant comic section noticed that and wrote a thing about how that was a different translation from the English translation.
Well, the future rules part wasn't, but the part where he says to Aki, where he's talking about his future, that was different.
Oh, is that what it was?
Okay. Translation.
Okay. It was just worded a little bit different, or did like the manga give more away? Or
so in the manga, I'm pretty sure it was written like, "You're gonna die in the best way possible."
Yes, this scene.
And in the anime, it just said you're gonna have a really terrible death, and so that
Oh wait, I thought like in the anime he's like, your death is gonna freaking rule.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, but it kind of takes away some of the nuance of the line potentially. Yeah, I mean, not getting into reasons why, but
right. Major spoiler, probably season 3 spoilers. If that, it's pretty far off. Pretty excited. I thought that was handled really well. The Future Devil was comedic and then instantly like sinister. Like,
I liked his whole like eccentric personality. I didn't get that from the manga, but like you see it in the anime where the Future Devil's like, yeah. I feel like the way he was animated, that really like captured that.
Yeah. He was having a good time in his cell. I know some of you guys were pretty excited about another part of this episode. When it was revealed that we have a whole nother slew of zombies to deal with. And then Ben, you could probably help me with the teacher's name. I keep forgetting. Really bad with names. I apologize. But yeah, Kishibe is like explaining, most of the special edition is filled with like devils and fiends. So if they escape, it would actually be worse than if the terrorists escaped. And you're like, oh boy, that sets the stakes for these characters pretty well. But we got an awesome introduction to like each one of them. We got Shark Boy, Lava Girl was off today. Beam is his name. Did they say it in this episode?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I don't think they do.
Did they
not?
No,
I don't think they do either.
Oh damn! I guess it's like Kishibe's name, where I don't think they've actually said Kishibe's name in the anime yet.
I think you're right. Yeah, because he's just like fish.
I guess that counts as spoilers, but deal with it.
That's how
their names are so important to who they
are.
are.
Mondays, right? Spoil out of the blue.
We've accidentally like spoiled one or two things, but then they ended up accentuating what ended up happening because it was a joke. We like joked that Makima died because I forgot about the train scene. And then that happened. I was like, oh crap, I feel really bad. But that
it's great because she didn't die.
Exactly. It accentuated.
Well, or did she?
Ben had to come in. Ben had to come in being like, oh man, this was the part I hated because like I wanted her to be in the manga and she's never seen again. It's so hard.
I mean, I was very sad, but we got a new Makima to take her place, so it all worked out.
Yeah. It's like a Naruto shadow clone thing, but they don't disappear.
Well, it's just in line with the multiverse. It's just Makima from a different universe.
Exactly, yeah. It's a very much a funny Valentine from JoJo's Part 7. Sort of.
Oh boy, long pull there. You
gotta take the napkin, man. I mean,
these are the red herrings we're talking about. None of these things are spoilers. we promise.
Oh. Well, except for JoJo's, but
oh crap! Oh, don't get mad at us, JoJo fans. All couple of you.
Don't worry, part 7 will never get animated, so it will never matter.
I'll couple of you.
I love JoJo. I kid. But yeah, another excellent intro scene. We got. I forgot about the spider fiend. I remember the violence fiend. That guy's pretty cool. But I think one of my favorite bits of that introduction scene was the introduction of Angel.
Yeah,
And,
I love Angel.
They get a little blood on their shoe, and then they ask Aki for like a handkerchief. And just while you watch Aki like slowly walk towards Angel, you see like Beam and everybody and Denji just like going ham on zombies in the background, and Aki's just like casually walking by while Beam's like a shark head just like having zombies and stuff. It was a really, really fun scene, and it just really like, I feel like it encapsulates Chainsaw Man really, really well. Like it introduces all these zombies that, in a normal movie that would be like the big problem, and it's terrifying, and oh no, don't get bit, then everyone turns into zombies, and then it just turns into like all these fiends and devils just having a great time, just slaughtering all these zombies so casually and like with no worries. It just instantly takes the tension away. And then we jump into Aki going into like the hotel, and it seems like he's all by himself, but then they just start like bleeding out of their noses and collapsing as Makima like casually walks out of the shed after apparently learning the names of everybody that the Yakuza is like working with, and Gun Devil people that have been working with them. But it was really interesting. I don't remember like the Gun Devils requesting like 20,000 yen for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that.
Devils need to eat too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
They got rent today.
Yeah.
Yeah, landlords don't care if you're a human or a devil. They got to
They
get their
care about
rent.
getting paid.
Yeah.
I thought it was like interesting how like those dudes that Aki ran into, they kind of just died. Like very just whatever, they just died. Whereas before, when what's his name, like or Samurai Sword, is that what they call
yeah,
him?
that's what
Yeah, just Katana Man. It's fine. Yeah.
They were all just, they were literally exploding. All those people were exploding, but these guys were, I guess Makima was just like, yeah, you haven't pissed me off as much, so
Don't need to make as much of a statement here.
Right. Instead of blowing up your entire body, I'll just blow up one little part of your brain, and that's all I need to do.
Yeah.
Well, it's also a bit of an interesting thing where like we find out this episode, like Makima basically admits this episode that like the attack on public safety, she knew about it and was like, let it happen, right? So that was more of a statement where she wanted to take more time letting them attack public safety for a while and letting people die so she could get her ends that she wanted. So it made more sense for her to do a technique that sort of took longer and was more impressive and stuff. Whereas here it's like now she actually wants to take them down. So she's just, killing them outright.
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll get more information on Makima's plans. But yeah, it just seemed like she's almost like gauging the enemy, like seeing what they're capable of, and letting so many people die just to like learn, what they're up against. It just solidifies how terrifying she is. And Denji don't care. She's hot, so she can do whatever she wants.
And many of the fan base don't care either.
Yeah, right.
For the same reasoning.
Yeah, I want to hear what other. I kind of gabbed about my favorite bits of the episode. Would love to hear from you guys.
Well, I won't say it's a favorite moment, but it's a really important moment. Just for the fact that in the previous episode, we heard about all these crazy amount of sacrifices that devil hunters had to make in order to make a contract with the future devil. And all Aki had to do was let, the future devil hang out in his eye so he can watch. So I mean, besides him just saying, that your death is gonna fucking rule, like for anime goers, who are just viewing the anime, it just all of that just must be hyping the suspense of what will inevitably happen. Not just because the future devil is saying it's gonna fucking rule. Rule. It's that Aki didn't have to give up anything, basically. So that's pretty cool. I love that little dynamic there.
Yeah,
just like how
quick
screwed do you have to be?
Yeah.
Just a quick disclaimer. It's all right if we curse a little bit. I usually like to curse as according to how much the manga or the anime we're watching curses. So if they drop that line, feel free.
Do you have you should have like a bar in the back, like when
I'll color code it.
Swear jar. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm rocking orange colors, then no cursing allowed. But blue, we've got a couple F-bombs we can drop. But no,
only 3.
But yeah, good point. Because I definitely remember reading that in the manga, and as soon as that line dropped, like, oh boy, your death is like so brutal and heartbreaking that I'm just gonna give you my services for free. And how you die is no, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
says Aki. But yeah, as soon as I read that, I was just like, okay, that was actually kind of the moment, because the anime has definitely helped like give more personality to Aki for me. I enjoy Aki in the anime a lot more than I enjoyed on my first read through of the manga. But that's definitely the moment where I got more invested in his character, when that line got dropped saying like, oh, your death is going to be tragic and terrible, and I just can't wait to see it.
I can't believe
I think that's
Aki hate.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just happy that was your moment, because I feel like mine was kind of worse. Like for me, what defined him was his relationship with other characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's like so like just a disservice to his characters. Like I like you because of how other characters feel about you, or how much your life affects them. So no, I'm glad to hear that that's why you like Aki. So I'll give you a thumbs up.
Oh, it feels good. Oh man, the social media dopamine
stamp of approval.
Yeah. But I understand what you are saying, Ben, too. Like, Aki hasn't done anything wrong. He has always been a really good character. But for the longest time, I felt a lot like the dude in the car in this episode, where he's just like, man, you just walk around thinking you're like some manga character or something. Like, you feel so self-important, and it just pisses me off. And I was just like, he nailed it. That's like how I felt about Aki. Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes his character so good. I mean, I liked Aki from the start. I don't know why it takes a lot of other people time to warm up to him, but I was
think
always
so.
a fan.
I mean, especially, just knowing it, like just learning about his backstory too. It just explains why he is the way that he is. Like when you're saying, like you're just like a manga character strutting around, it's because this is just because of his past. So,
well, it's just like, as soon as the gun devil like took out his whole family, and he's like, I'm swearing revenge against the one that killed my whole family, and I'm all brooding and I have black hair. I was just like, all right, Sasuke. But that's not a like a dig. Like, I love Sasuke. I love Naruto. Naruto's my favorite series. So I was all for it. I mean, I wasn't against the character. I was just like, all right, let's see where this Sasuke guy goes. But then as soon as that line dropped, where it's just like, your death's going to be brutal and sad and all this, I was just like, all right, I'm in. I'm more invested. So, but yeah. Anything else in the anime episode that you guys want to talk about? The outro was awesome, like always.
Well, yeah. What
really
do
like
you have
the
to say
outros.
about it, Ben? You're a big fan of outros.
I thought it was like bottom 3. And
Oh no!
It was fine. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad. Like all the outros in this season have been good, but like at the minimum. But it just didn't compare to some of the others. Like, it was a very standard song, and like the animation was good, but
And it
like
wasn't
compared
Maximum
to
the
some of the
Hormone
others.
either, you know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, of course, for Steven, there's one good ending, and then all the others are just garbage tier because they're not actually hormone.
Comparatively.
So
But-
mid. They're so mid.
I know, right? Yeah. But like, yeah, I'd actually call this ending mid. Like, I thought that this was fine, but it wasn't anything special. And it's a shame because the band Queen Bee actually made a much better anime theme, which is Fire for Dororo, or however many rows there are in that game. But that was a great opening theme that I thought was really interesting, and this just felt like very standard by comparison.
And
So
and also too, like in relation to I was actually, and I can't say why, but I loved the ending for the previous episode just because of the amount of crazy foreshadowing that was like, and its little twist of how it was. So, I completely agree, because like that's one of the things I look for is in those types of endings is what are they going to throw? Like, what little Easter egg are they going to give to manga readers? And I didn't find any in this one.
no.
I did.
You did?
Yeah. I actually I do agree. Some of the outros have just been like top tier. Like if we have anime awards and for best outro, I think Chainsaw Man could maybe fill all 5 or 4 categories.
Look out for Ben's. Look out for Ben's.
Ben's one of the judges.
I'm looking forward to it.
I may have written an article already about the anime closings. Won't go out for a while, but I do have the top ones of the year up there.
You wanted them all to be Chainsaw Man, but oh well.
Yeah, well, if we weren't limited to one show per slot, then Chainsaw Man would easily take the top 5. But you'll have to wait and see which of the Chainsaw Man endings I put on the list. So
absolutely,
I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That will be on Screen Rant, but we have one more episode of season 1. Sorry to break the bad news, but we only have one more episode of season 1.
If that last ending is actually better than the ending that I chose, then I'm gonna make a quick stealth edit. Go in quickly change.
It's not stealthy anymore.
Yeah, no. I guess everyone will know about it. But
you're gonna go all ninja. We got to keep these Naruto things going. We're gonna go ninja.
Do we? But yeah, I mean, Eve is singing the last ending, and Eve is great. I mean, you may know them from the first Jujutsu Kaisen opening. And
wow,
they're
really?
so they're very hype. And I'm sure they're going to go all out for the last ending. So it'll probably be very, very good.
How great would it be if it's just like only foreshadowing? Like every frame is just like, oh my god, what's that? And this, like,
you mean like ending 10 and ending 5 and ending, ending 3 and ending all the endings.
Oh boy, you've got them all memorized. I'm impressed. Well, look forward to that on Screen Rant. Ben and all these guys have written some great stuff on Screen Rant's anime and manga section, so definitely check that out. I'll go ahead and reveal the stuff that I thought was like foreshadowing and really interesting, but it is definitely spoilers. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. Is there any other thoughts on the anime episode before we move into?
We didn't talk about the cliffhanger really. Aki's getting choked out by the ghost devil, which Akane was able to access apparently because her snake swallowed it. But quite a turn.
Yeah, Himiko's devil.
Himeno, yeah.
Himeno, sorry. Yeah. Who's Himineko? That's a different anime, probably. I watched too many things.
Himiko Toga from My Hero.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There she is.
Steven's ears perked up.
Yeah.
That was a really good fight that the anime portrayed. Like, I remember that part, happening in the manga, and I was just like, I felt like a little disappointed with it in the manga, but I felt like the anime has just done such a great job of like building up that character, and I thought the anime did a much better job with Himeno's death, and it just made me like as I was reading the manga, I was like, oh man, this is kind of a bummer. But like, I was weeping like a baby when I was watching the anime. Like, they just did such a better job of like accentuating her character, and
Yeah, that one hurt.
that one hurt. And I don't know. I mean, we still have another episode, but in the entire season of amazing animation, for some reason, the whole like scene in her apartment just like stands out to me animation wise. Like, just her body language of like her dragging Denji into the apartment. She's drunk and she's just like getting ready, and just like all the little bit of details that they added to the animation has just stood out in my brain as like one of the coolest animated moments of the entire season. And I think back to that, and it's really surprising. I'm surprised by the words coming out of my mouth, because all of the crazy beautiful things that we saw. And one of those I thought was Aki fighting the snake girl with the all the arms coming out and stuff. Like, I don't remember that being that cool in the manga. And they did it justice. They made it cool. We'll see how it ends next week. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead and jump into manga and full spoilers. But I hope you guys have enjoyed Mega Manga Monday's discussion. We're about to dive into chapter 114 of the manga. But I wanted to clear up one thing in the outro of this newest anime episode. We were discussing how it doesn't really, some of my guests didn't think that it had a lot of like foreshadowing and stuff.
You're wrong, Steven. Not again.
It was Steven. I wasn't going to call him out, but yeah, it was but there's like, is all like grays and what, black and whites and grays, and I really like the animation style of the outro. But there's like a moment where these pillars all like meeting up, and there's like all this like debris falling from wherever they're meeting up, and I was just like, oh, that reminds me of the Gun Devil. Like, at the end when the Gun Devil's fighting Makima, and he's like just this gigantic, horrendous amalgamation of like bullets and guns and stuff, and it's just like shooting at Makima from like hundreds of miles away, and you just see like a rain of the shells like cascading onto the ground.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, in the outro, that's what I visualized, because it wasn't revealing like what's above the pillars. And then it like cuts to, before the outro ends, like Denji in the center of the pillars at the bottom, like looking up, which is just, kind of revealing what happens later. Denji having to confront the Gun Devil, and but that was the only bit I was just like, oh, hey, that's kind of foreshadowing.
That I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I
like it.
I wish I paid attention more to the outros now.
Yeah, no, there have been some. I mean, some of them have been very sort of on the nose for manga. Like the 10th one was very much just taking place after the events of the series. Just,
yeah,
you're
talking about with the dogs, right?
Yeah, with the dogs.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Right. Like, it's just Denji after the series, with all Makima's dogs and stuff.
And the whole door opening thing too. I feel like that it was calling out to that as well.
Now there are a bunch of things in the 10th one. The 10th one's grown on me over time. I will say.
All right, well, I know what I'm doing after this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, if you want one that really gets into manga stuff, like look at ending 5. Like that is just.
Which one was that?
So it's the really trippy one.
Oh yeah, I skipped over that one.
Really, that one's. I mean.
The music's one of my favorites. I'm not feeling this.
It took me like 4 episodes to even realize that like they were doing a different song. Like I noticed the animation was different, but it took me 4 episodes to realize like each one had a different song and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying some animes are like going out of their way to. There's even been some animes that have done like Marvel sort of things where they slip in like a little. Like tease for something that happens later on. Like I'm finally catching up on Attack on Titan, and during season 3, not huge spoiler, but the credits roll, and then halfway through the credits, they literally like add distortion to the screen, and it cuts to like all the main characters pretty much having knives to each other's throats, and you're just like, what's happening? Did I miss something? What's happening? And it's definitely one of those things where if you just turn it off right when the intro or the outro starts, you're missing some stuff. So always get through those outros. But yeah, speaking of outros, not a good segue. Chainsaw Man episode chapter 114, titled "Endless Aquarium." Well, we like I usually say, we picked up right where we left
fix
off.
my table.
Okay. But yeah, the manga starts up pretty much right where we left off, where seemingly it's just Asa and Denji being stuck in the aquarium. Apparently, the Eternity Devil has returned, and
With a vengeance.
with a vengeance, and the Famine Devil was there too, and she explained to Asa that she needs to make Denji into a weapon to get out of here. And then this chapter just kind of threw that all out not all of it out the window, but it's just like they look over their shoulder and suddenly everybody else from part 2 is here.
Which honestly makes a lot more sense when you think about it, because Famine Devil's part of the student council, right?
Mhm.
So it makes sense that if she was there, they
Devil
were
Hunter
also
Club.
there. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if she's part of because I know the leader of the Devil Hunter Club is also the president of student council. But does that
Yeah.
mean that all the Devil Hunter?
Oh, I more
club?
meant
think
like
so, no.
part of the club that shows
Oh,
up.
okay.
Like I misspoke with student council.
Oh, it's fine. I wasn't sure. Who knows if it's something that will be important later on or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was kind of silly, like especially when we go like week to week and you're just speculating, like, oh man, what's going to happen? When it's just suddenly like, oh, they're here too. It's like, oh, well, that changes everything. This isn't going to be just Asa and Denji stuck in an endless hallway. Like, it's going to be a little bit different.
I feel like one thing I was like, because I'm kind of confused. It seems like out of character for Denji to just not be like, "What do you mean? I'm Chainsaw Oh Man, you don't believe me?" Like, I feel like it's out of character for him to have not done that. And I feel like now with the Eternity Devil, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is the Eternity Devil. Here's how we get out of it."
Yeah,
And
He's
he
gotta kill
doesn't
it a
know
bunch of
where
times.
it is, right? Like if he knew where the Eternity Devil was actually hiding, then he could chop it up. But like, I mean, it also like hurts him when he
Right.
doesn't necessarily like becoming Chainsaw Man.
That is true.
I would think it'd be a bit taxing for him, especially because he kind of needs to be able to ingest blood to like keep it going. So yeah, that's probably why. But I agree, Todd. Like, especially throughout part 2, Denji's consistently been like, "Oh man, I can't wait to show everyone I'm Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Then I can get a girlfriend." But maybe because he's already on a date, we're not really well. Actually, Denji has been on a date before. Hopefully, we'll get to it at the very end of the season 1.
Oh yeah, I'm
yeah.
hoping for that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that's where around the time it ends. That'd be great. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like not very good date behavior to turn into a chainsaw devil until it's needed. But it's really just adding to the suspense. And I think one of my favorite parts of this chapter was something that I had brought up before in our last podcast, was how separating Yoru and Asa, like if Yoru is not there and Denji reveals himself as Chainsaw Man, it'd be super interesting if Asa knows but Yoru doesn't know, because then it's just another opportunity to increase the tension in between them two. And I know this chapter definitely made it feel like Asa isn't going to be like siding with Denji anytime soon. He's just not having any moments that are like making him redeemable to her. Just every step of the way, Denji's pissing her off. He just seems to know exactly what to say to set her off. Like when she sees him, like he randomly finds a bag of money, which I think is something that's going to be important later. Because
Well,
it just
yeah, I
seems
think
so kind of out of there.
Yeah, I
But
think it's going to somehow tie in to the whole reason why he was doing the whole cigarette rolling thing,
Yeah.
the whole scam. It's probably gonna connect with that in some way.
I thought so too. I was like, oh man, I hope that theory that Steven came up with was gonna like come true in this chapter. I was like, what if it's that would have been a good opportunity for Denji to reveal like, oh well, yeah, actually, I'm saving up money to take care of a little girl that I'm
No,
having
that was
care
Ben. Well, that was
What?
Ben.
It was
That
Ben.
was
Oh, okay.
Ben's.
Sorry, Ben. I'll give you all the credit. Take
It's
the credit.
fine. I'm a generous person.
Oh, and so humble. But yeah, I that didn't happen in this chapter. I was totally expecting, but I don't know. Denji's like he has learned through the past experiences throughout, especially part 1 of the manga, that he's not just going to like open himself up to everybody and instantly trust, especially women who are talking to him. Because I mean, he has fallen in love hard. I'd say, which I'm hoping we get an after credits tease of Rize. I've said that before in the podcast, but I think Rize was probably one of my favorite characters of part 1, and I think that their love like felt really legitimate. And then Makima kind of put an end to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I said this before when you mentioned that, but I think that would defeat the point of Rize and ruin the shock of her actually being the bomb devil, because it would show that she's something more special than just like a character who.
It's like, what's up with this chick? She must be important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I was heartbroken when she became the bomb devil.
And I think that
I
think that wouldn't hit as hard if she was like teased. But
And
I'm
then
definitely
the turn
excited
too. Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay, I'm going. I really liked the just to gush about the Rize bit. Like, some amazing person on Twitter did the whole animation of her like being on the roof of the school, and then the like killer coming up to try to take her out, and then she just like out of nowhere just destroys this dude, and you're like, whoa, this chick's a badass. But for me, it was definitely like the fireworks scene where she bites off his tongue after like a kiss, that I was just like, oh my god, what is going on with this? And then is that when she transforms, or
she
like
basically right after that.
Man. Yeah, I loved that part.
Now, I just gotta say though, just like, even though she wasn't there for that long, like her whole journey, I was following it the whole way, because it's like, oh man, they're dating. Oh my god, she's the bomb devil. And then, but oh my god, she might actually have feelings for him. But oh my god, Makima got in the way. It's like, oh yeah, like
it's so masterful.
He's just like, my heart, man. Stop.
The broken heart devil is growing stronger.
Todd, that must be fresh for you.
Yeah, Todd, I want to hear your thoughts on it, man. Since this is all new
on the whole thing. Well, first off, I gotta say, I can really get behind Denji's as a character.
Yeah.
Just I feel like that's something all of us have gone through at that age. We all just want to feel the touch of a woman.
It's like a bag of sand.
But then I read the story very fast, so like a lot of things like I like the anime for that, because I read like maybe the first 20 chapters and then I took like a good couple month break before my binge, so I forgot like pretty much the establishment of the world. But like I said, the anime helped clear a lot of that up for me and remember it all. Oh man, but like, just I was expecting Makima to be something. I wasn't expecting that whole thing to turn out how it happened. Denji's heart being ripped out. Like, I was with Steven on this one. Like, I want to see the love. I want to feel the love. Like, let's focus more on that. And then for them to just rip out Denji's heart, like, theoretically speaking, that just messed with me. There's so much I want to say, but I don't know if like we have that much time to dedicate to it.
Well, I guess right now we're just trying to we kind of want to focus on like the experiences that changed Denji to prepare him for this moment, because as the anime is currently at too, like Denji's just like, oh man, I'm naive. I want to like fall in love and touch boobs, and Makima's awesome. I want to hook up with her, and I feel like everything that he went through with Rize and especially Makima have like got him to this point where we are now, where he's. I feel like we're actively seeing him be apprehensive. Like he's not instantly jumping into like, yeah, whatever you want, Asa. You asked me on a date. As long as you let me kiss you or touch some boobies, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
He's learned from that. Like he's
Right.
evolved.
I wouldn't
He's
even say apprehensive. Like I feel like he's just like straight up like, I just don't like you. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
able to
He's
actually
not
just throw it, like,
interested
you
in
know
her
what?
at
I
all.
don't think I like you that much. Yeah,
Yeah, which
and
is
I loved
good
that
for him.
about yeah,
it
good
is
for
very
him.
good for him.
He's come a long
Especially
way.
right now.
But yeah, I thought that was great in the last chapter 113 where uh Asa just thinks that she knows, everything that there is to,
She was like, "This is what
seduce a
makes me
boy.
interesting. This is how
No,
this
but
date's
Ben,
gonna be
that's
interesting."
perfect date, man.
Yeah, it is. Tell me fish facts.
I love it. I love it.
Oh boy. But yeah, this chapter just especially like when she saw him with the bag of money, she's like, "You're a thief. You suck." He's like, "Well, what have you done?" And then there's a panel where you just see her like, "Arr," like just lose it, like she snaps, and it's definitely going to be a thumbnail for this one, or one of the thumbnails. But she just instantly like gets super pissed off at him, and then they just start yelling at each other in the hallway. Go to hell! No, you go to hell! You go to hell! And,
This is gonna be the one.
yeah, I think that means that they are going to be married soon.
Oh yeah. No, I'm excited. I think that he'll notice her sort of huddled in the hall next chapter and say something or do something. But I just love their dynamic. And I love also right after that moment where they have to go to hell off, where Asa sort of like turns to empty air and be like, maybe I should turn him into a weapon, right, Yoru? And there's just no one there.
Yeah, there's the
It just-
confirmation.
yeah, it's shown how sort of she's come to rely on Yoru as just someone to talk to, because she's been a very lonely person. Like that's how this part started off, just showing how lonely she was. And Yoru's been finally someone to talk to.
Yeah,
And the one
and that
person she has to talk to wants to eat her, or is not even alive anymore.
oh yeah, it gives Denji a great opportunity, because I mean he's done that a couple times. I feel like, especially in the anime recently, when Aki was like in the hospital bed, Denji and Power like have their spat fighting over apples and stuff, and then as they're leaving, he looks at Aki. He's just like, "Oh man, this guy has been through a lot. Here's an apple, buddy. You go ahead and enjoy one of these apples from this fruit basket somebody gave you."
And it's
And
such a great parallel too, because Denji was in that same position not that long before, where Denji was in the hospital bed and Aki was the one who came and sat with them. So that was just a really great parallel as well, and he was able to step up to that.
Absolutely, and so yeah, it's a great opportunity for Denji to see like, well, yeah, especially because they had their spat, and then Asa tries to think of a way to be useful, and then she pulls out a cell phone, which again, I think it's really interesting whenever this series gives us like a little insight into like what normal life in Japan might be, and I could be totally wrong on this, but I thought it was really cool that they're like, oh wow, a high school student with a cell phone, that's not very normal. I was just like,
that was interesting.
Like, do we know what year it takes place?
That's the question,
good
because it's
question.
an old-looking cell
It's a
phone.
flip phone.
Yeah,
It is a flip phone, but
I can't even say flip phone because it's like, what is that?
Because I always had the impression that it was like, the modern day, like taking place during now, especially like they were alluding to the fact that 9/11 was what created the gun devil, right?
Oh wow.
Or like
is that what you guys picked up from that? Because that's what I picked up.
I think that's
yeah.
like more subtext than like than an actual like official event that happens in the series. But yeah, I think that subtext is definitely there as like.
So it's so assuming that is the case, then it's definitely sometime after like 2001. But
yeah, Yeah, I would if I had to put a year to it, I would definitely say it's probably in the mid like early 2000s,
Yeah.
somewhere like 2004, 2005, which would absolutely explain the cell phone and people being like, "Oh boy, Fancy Pants here has a cell phone." Um, and then classic Asa, as soon as everybody, it's time for her to, come into clutch, she screws it up, which I think is
Related to
just
that heavily.
all gonna build up to like final moments of part two is Asa's gonna screw this big thing up and it's gonna feel all that much more triumphant when she pulls it off, whatever that thing ends up being. Um, but I love that Fujimoto is just making it like she's just the worst klutz we've ever seen in this manga. You guys could probably think of people who are more klutzy in certain animes, but she breaks the phone, and then the student council, phony Chainsaw Man. We still need more details on that. Um, by the way, I think that guy's going to bite it pretty soon. We've just not been given anything likable about this guy. And
Doesn't mean he's
usually,
gonna bite it, especially in this series.
yeah, I don't know. I think even in this series, it might take a while, but especially a writer will usually make a character unlikable. So then when they die, you feel glad instead of sad. Um,
Nothing but happiness.
and I definitely feel like I'd be glad to see this guy go. But
Because Fujimoto definitely makes you feel happy when he kills his characters.
not all of them. And some of them, I was pretty happy when Katana Man, and I honestly, when Makima bit it, I was pretty satisfied with that too. But
Although in that case, Denji bit Makima. I'm on top
Well,
of it with the
I
puns.
felt
today.
satisfaction at that. I will say.
What was that, Todd? Sorry.
I said I felt satisfaction at that. I can't lie.
I'm looking at my notes here, and you guys could probably clear this up. Do we have a new crying girl, or is
Yes,
this?
we do.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, but something interesting. This is something that Evan brought up. The head anime guy for Screen Rant. He was saying that it might not be a girl, and it could actually be Himeno. No, not
Kobeni's sister.
old brother.
Her brother.
Could be like the older brother, the one who had to get went to school and everything, and she had become a devil hunter to support his education. That would be interesting if this person is that, because now we see them complaining about being forced to get all these scholarships and stuff. I think that would be interesting if that's the case, but it would kind of I like it, but at the same time, I don't, because it would kind of feel like it'd be making like the whole fear thing hereditary.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of weird. Like it would be great to have like another fearful type of character, but it'd be kind of weird if it ended up being related to her.
That would be great, because then you have Kobeni show up at the end of this, and Kobeni talks to Asa, and she's like, "Oh, you went on a terrible date with Denji too?"
Oh boy, let me tell you how mine went. But I hate to do that. Well, actually, in page, I've got it up right now. I haven't memorized all the pages, but page 4, when we get to see this new Neo Kobani, is that what we want to call her, him, maybe they? That my mom made me. She said it'd get me a scholarship. So I think that's insinuating that they haven't gotten a scholarship yet, or they haven't made it to college yet.
Damn you, Evan!
I still think it fits though. I still think it fits though, because it was an offhand reference to Kobeni's siblings earlier. So
yes, well, because there was also the whole thing about the hand-me-downs. I didn't catch that, because that was what Evan was originally.
It does seem like their character designs are very similar, like especially looking in that first panel of them crying. Like,
I'm actually really interested to go back to part 1 and see if the panel structure is even the same, because
would be
it just felt so like, oh, this feels exactly like Kobeni's intro, which made me think, is like, wait, is this Kobeni again? Wait, what's going on? It kind of threw me off, but thanks for bringing that up, actually. Or this well, actually, I brought it up, patting myself on the back. Part 5 or page 5 has a really, really cool panel that just did something really weird to my brain that I wanted to bring up. Is the panel they're like saying like, oh, the devil's power is making this hallway go forever, and then like it's a long stretch of just the tiles. So like your brain, whenever you're reading manga, does certain things or has certain processes.
Don't tell me what my brain does when I read manga.
Yeah, don't tell me how I do. And so when you read that bubble about the hallway going on forever, then your eyes, go down to the bottom of the panel, and just the way that the tiles are there just makes your brain like, oh man, this is taking forever. Like this panel is just like it instantly is just like, this is a long time for my brain to read the next bit of information. And it's just all the little like intricacies that Fujimoto adds to like accentuate the Eternity Devil's effects and stuff.
All right, Jason, get out of my head.
Yeah. Psychology is interesting. Or biology, maybe. I don't know where that would technically be. But yeah, that sounds better, smarter.
But yeah, I wouldn't like. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, that was about it.
Okay, because I actually see what you mean now. Because I'm like staring at it, and it's like, wow, like I'm literally just, there's so much space in between the two speech bubbles, and it did take me a long time to read that. So,
and it's just like accentuated by the tiles and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just it's
you
next
just
level.
look at it, like you can see the whole thing. But if you like actually move your eyes from top to bottom, it takes a long time.
Yeah, compared to like reading any other manga where say like One Piece does that, where you're reading it and then you just like your eyes instantly go to the next bubble, but that just kind of makes your brain pause for a while, and it makes that one page feel an eternity longer than other panels. So just something I wanted to bring up. It's just another like Fujimoto and masterclass and manga paneling, which is something he's just been showing off throughout part 2 consistently. I'm not sure if there's anybody else who does it better. But and Yoshida is there.
Yeah, which makes sense. Fish. Wouldn't be surprised if he lives there.
Yeah, right. Because he has like the octopus devil, right? Yeah, or a contract with Octopus Devil. So
don't explain the joke, Jason. God.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not everybody knows. I'm one of them. I need reminding. But let's see. I'm just kind of going through my notes. Was there anything else about this chapter that you guys definitely wanted to talk about?
I love how like Asa just looks up to the Devil Hunter president because he's like Chainsaw Man, and like, oh, this guy knows everything that he's talking about, and like I need his validation and approval. And that's why his comment to her at the end of the chapter is so devastating to her.
Oh, good point. And I didn't put that together.
Yeah, it's just so funny knowing that, he's fake. He's not actually Chainsaw Man, so he doesn't know what he's talking about. And she's like sort of glomming onto him so hard, even though he's supposed to be her enemy.
Yeah.
So,
well, I loved that like internal dialogue she was having. Like she's just like, oh, if I just follow what he's saying, then we'll be able to get out of this. But then again, if I kill him, then that'll get me out of all my bad situations. And then it like cuts back to like him just like, is she okay? Like, so it's like we didn't get to hear his plan. We didn't get to hear his explanation because Asa is just so in her head. So yeah, that was.
And she's also got her like head on the. She's like
just defeated,
fried her brain.
Yeah. Let's see. Neo Kobeni having a lighter because bullies force her to light their cigarettes for her, or vice versa.
For them.
That's next level there. I need to be prepared to appease my bullies. But let's see. Yoru not there. We talked about that.
I mean, while you're looking,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just
Yeah, I want
say,
to hear it from you guys.
no, I mean, I'm probably wrong, but I mean, just my first read, and I've been proven wrong and many times, but I'm currently I'm currently not a fan of the fact that Mitaka and Denji aren't alone. I feel like that these additional characters are they're acting as like a buffer to both of them. Like, I mean, of course they're interacting here and they can still interact, but I feel like a lot of them being there kind of minimizes the tension, at least for me at this moment in this chapter right now where we're at. And I kind of feel like unless something really cool happens with those characters, I feel like them being there is more detrimental to their growth. But again, next chapter could prove me wrong, but that's just where I'm at this moment.
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
kind
sure.
of people like,
I
oh,
agree.
man, there's other people there, and Yoshida, man, come on.
I'm not sure you heard earlier because I think this was when you were having cable issues.
No, dude, my table, the leg of my table fell off. It's being held up right now by like a watering can.
Oh, rip. But I think it actually makes sense for the Devil Hunting Club to be there because Fami is a part of the Devil Hunting Club. And so it makes sense that she was there with them potentially when she showed
Fami.
up. Yeah, Fami. That's her name.
Oh, yeah.
When she showed up last chapter. So I think it makes sense that they're there. And I do think that I think that they served a good purpose this chapter, sort of like putting Asa at her lowest. And we'll see if that pays off next chapter. But
yeah,
I hope.
And I wonder if they're also there like purposely to delay or draw out this interaction between Asa and Denji, while also adding more to it. I mean,
there's definitely. I feel like that there's just so much like this could be a lot more. I mean, of course, later chapters can do is like you're saying, it could draw it out, or it's holding it back so that these things can be drawn out. But I feel like you drawing them out now will now just force even more things to be drawn out later. I just feel like, again, would be completely wrong. I just feel like the whole thing of Asa being defeated at the very end, just feeling completely at loss, because I mean, her klutziness has gotten her in places before. It just feels like it's just pushing that too much to the point where I don't care about that as much. I care about her relationship with Denji, and
I thought you liked it when characters suffered.
I just feel like it just doesn't. It's not resonating with me. I don't know why. It's my stupid brain. No, it's. I just feel like I want more. I want more from. It's just because the characters Mitaka and Denji are just so well written, and I want them to just duke it out.
Well, they might next chapter.
Yeah. That's the thing. I could be completely wrong. Like next chapter, I'll be like, they had to have been there because if they weren't there, then this wouldn't have happened.
I mean, that's one of the issues of just seeing like a glimpse of like the overall story structure, right? Yeah. Like week to week, where it's like, we don't know what's coming, and we don't know. Like if you're reviewing a piece of art that's like completed and self-contained, right? Yeah. You can point to moments that you might not have liked the first time around and been like, okay, this is here because ties into this, and this, and it, you can see why it's essential. But like in the moment, it's like, why do I care? Why do it's
kind of always been my big like love of manga and storytelling and stuff is just like it's all a well constructed one is like a great puzzle. Where you're just like, okay, how does this relate? How does this connect? And
that's your One Piece brain talking.
One Piece is one of the greatest manga of all time. So.
Yeah, then we also got to go back and read Boruto all the way through instead of waiting each month.
But yeah, I mean, going. Well, come on, gotta figure this out. Going back on what that was like,
I'll switch it up, throw you off.
No, because that happened with me, like in the part. Sure. Like as it happened like in the first part, like so chapter 98 of part 2 was I originally did not like how because I wanted Mitaka and the teacher whose head is turned into like the hilt of a sword and stuff. Yeah. Like I felt that was so lacking at the time because she didn't create enough of a relationship with him. Like, it'd be like, oh my God, what if she was forced to like pull his head off and he was like this wonderful person? And like, it's like, oh my God, I did that. But then later on, like they proved like, or Fujimoto like proved to me at least why it had to be that way, because we find out later on the importance of how the relationships are and how, how strongly you can have a relationship with someone can affect the sword. So it needed to be that way for that buildup to happen. But it was like just one of those things where in the time I was like, oh, this could have been so much better. But then it ends up paying out in the end. But I'm at this part where I'm waiting for the payout, but I'm sure it'll come because Fujimoto rarely ever leads me astray.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that. I guess it was while you're doing table stuff because I agreed.
No, I was holding it up the whole time. Like I was like, oh,
no. It's like, why are you sweating so much right now, Steve?
Just really passionate about this.
Chainsaw Man just does it. But yeah, I agree, especially with like us doing it week to week. We have that time to speculate, and that's something that I love, is being able to speculate and get excited and think like how things are going to connect. And so as soon as this chapter started out and they're like, oh, by the way, all these other people are here, I was just like, no, I want Denji and Asa to like be stuck together for a long time. But I think the reason Fujimoto would do that, and I think you already said that, I'm just going to maybe reword it, is
you can say it better. It's not that hard.
Maybe. He doesn't want that resolution to happen right now from whatever will be accomplished by them hashing it out. He's, accentuating it to happen, better and later. But this chapter definitely did the thing that I feel like most horror movies do, where you're like main characters are there and you're like, oh, these characters are kind of likable. And then you get an onslaught of secondary characters show up. I was just like, oh, these guys are specifically here. So then if somebody dies, it doesn't have to be one of the main characters.
Also, like we got some red shirts.
Yes.
Red shirts. Yeah.
We got some red shirts show up in this chapter. So I think that
but you never know who's wearing the red shirt in this.
I know, there's
Manga,
not wearing red shirt.
You'd think that Kobeni would be a classic red shirt, but here she has survived to the end.
Yeah,
Part one.
Everybody else has died, but Kobeni is like, hi guys.
No, why Kobeni's best girl? Process of elimination,
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That was everything I had on this chapter. I think we had that nice break between Denji and Asa saying, "Oh, just hold that thought, Todd. I definitely want to hear it."
I don't.
Nice... What an asshole! We had that nice break between Denji and Asa where she goes in and makes a fool of herself, and then goes and cries into the hallway. So because we had that nice little break, I could see Denji like popping up and being like, and actually one more thing, you're crying right now. I'm not going to be a dick right now. What's going on? Like it's that perfect opportunity for Denji to come in. And actually I would love it if we said this previously in a podcast too, before Denji swooped in and took out the Bat Devil.
Well, he technically took out the bat, but he was taking out the cockroach devil. But it just happened
weird and confusing. That needs to be animated. It's like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. It was a lot, but
I think it makes more sense on reread. So
yeah. I would love it if Fujimoto flops it here, where we're like, oh man, it'd be great if Denji showed up, but it's actually Yoshida who shows up.
Oh,
it's like earlier. Yeah. Oh, that's what you're referencing. That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Did we go silent?
Yeah.
No.
We just got nothing more to talk about.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I got to get going here soon, so I just wanted to share two more things that I found interesting about this chapter.
Sorry, I accidentally undid my mic, but yes.
Oh, okay. No problem. There was like this weird quiet out of nowhere.
Yeah. I had a thing pop up saying your mic might not be working, and I was like, oh, shit, you guys hear me?
Don't worry, we can just edit that out,
Yeah, right. Wink, wink. But yeah, what you got, Todd?
All right, so one's not really too important to like the overall story. It's just I noticed as soon as I opened up this chapter like it feels like the entire art style changed. I don't know if it's just me who
I like
noticed that. But it, like this chapter feels like there's something about the shading, or it all looks grainier, and it reminds me of like older manga.
Oh, I like this.
I wonder if like you
open it up.
guys noticed that at all. I noticed it instantly, and I went to the other chapters to like check, and I feel like there is a difference between the way this one was drawn versus those.
I thought so right when I like started reading, but it slipped my mind as I progressed through the chapter. But I almost wonder if it's like while they're under this Eternity Devil spell, he decided to put like an odd filter.
I think it's the
over it.
lighting.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the only lighting in the aquarium is from like the tanks, right?
Yeah, good thinking.
So it was like this in the last chapter when they were like looking at the fish, and so you can see that a bit there. And I think that it really does. I think you're right that it does make it feel like a sort of different manga, and maybe even an older one.
Yeah, like
but I think
that older art style.
Yeah,
which I don't know how to describe it beyond that.
Yeah, but it's nice that it does have like a diegetic reason for being like that.
I never thought about that part of it.
Yeah,
I think that could be why.
Yeah, I think you can see an illustration of that in like the last panel of chapter 113, where you see Denji and Asa in the hallway, and you can see on the wall the way the lights coming from the tanks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, and then it creates that stunning juxtaposition of like when they're in that one of the storage rooms on the side, it's completely light. So it's like it creates like there's almost two different. Well, there are two different environments, but two completely different feels. So that's on like pages the spreads.
Yeah, it's like as soon as they jumped into that room, it felt like more relaxing. It was just like, all right.
It wasn't just because they're doing this, but
right. Well, I know Todd's got to get going pretty soon. Is there any final thoughts on Chainsaw Man before we wrap it up, gentlemen?
Yeah, just one more. And I really got to go, so I don't know if I want to say it, but I feel like we were saying how like the Chainsaw Phony Man telling Asa that she failed to come through on the clutch, how we were talking about that's all foreshadowing. And then how her mission, lack of a better term, is to make Denji a weapon. I wonder if that's how they're going to get out of it, is she's going to make Denji a weapon by the only thing she can do left is pull his ripcord.
Oh, that would be cool. And then I wonder if he would be under her control then. That's an interesting question.
Yeah. So with that, I got to go. We can ponder it. But it was great chatting Chainsaw Man with you guys. And I hope to do it again.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, it was good to have you, Todd. You guys can follow Todd on Twitter. I'll have his information in the description. But have a good one, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
What a great way to end it. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. Peace.
Later. Well, gentlemen, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode of Mega Manga Mondays discussion on Chainsaw Man, episode 11 of the anime, and chapter 114 of the manga. We have been kind of having a weird release schedule with the manga lately. We're getting spoiled with every week releases, and then they absolutely deserve breaks. But we're getting another chapter next week, as well as the finale of season 1.
Yeah, it seems like they definitely deserve breaks, except on the holidays.
Yeah, no breaks on the holidays.
Although I guess they're not as big in Japan.
Wink, wink.
Well, what's crazy is that the Black Clover had a few weeks off, but it's coming back. The day it drops is on Christmas.
Oh, cool.
Well, One Piece has a weird sort of release schedule it has like a couple like 2-week breaks around this time of year. So
yeah, that dude's pretty busy.
Yeah.
Well, especially with Jump Fest just happened this past week. So that had a lot of I know Oda always appears at Jump Fest and delivers a cryptic tease for what to expect the next year in the manga. And he didn't disappoint this year. But speaking of One Piece, that's another series we like to talk about on Mega Manga Mondays. Would love it if you checked out other episodes. If you're caught up on any other mangas, we do a whole other podcast where we talk about series like Jujutsu Kaisen, We've got new Dragon Ball Super to talk about. Pretty excited about that. We did an excellent and probably one of our most fun discussions talking about the newest Dragon Ball Super movie a few months ago. So definitely go and check that out too. But you can listen to all of our podcasts we're on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please follow us. Also, we have a website called megamangamondays.podbean.com. Check us out there. Please follow us, subscribe, whatever the way you listen to podcasts offers. And leave a comment. Would love to hear if there's anything you felt like we missed or didn't talk about. And of course, would love to hear what your favorite parts of the anime or the manga were this week. Please let us know. Would be great to hear from you. But I, Jason Hahn, also have another YouTube channel called Hanzi and Friends. I've been doing some comedic Let's Play videos with me and some other really good buddies. And we really just make each other laugh and hang out and play games. And if that's something you like to do with your friends, you'll probably enjoy it because it's just really hanging out. So be a friend and subscribe. Would appreciate it. Ben, how about you, man?
Yeah, in terms of recommendations, a YouTuber I like called Super Eye Patch Wolf released a video, like an hour-long video on why Chainsaw Man is a masterpiece. So
Ooh.
I enjoyed it as someone who agrees that Chainsaw Man is a masterpiece. And if you're listening to this podcast, I feel like you're probably in a similar boat, so you might enjoy it as well. So definitely check that out. And in terms of plugs, I have a YouTube channel of my own called YGO from Zero, where I go over historical formats of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. So if that's something that interests you, then be sure to check it out and subscribe.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I'm going to have details for all of our plugs and recommendations in the description. Please check them out because we've put a lot of hard work and passion into a lot of these side things. But speaking of hard work and passion, Steven, what you got, man?
I'll just say like two things off of Ben. So first, a little while ago, I went to his Yu-Gi-Oh channel, and I gotta say, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, you'll probably love the heck out of it because I don't know anything about it, and I was like, "What is happening right now?" So very, very nuanced, nerdy stuff going on in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on?" But yeah, and I would just say something funny because it kind of killed me inside a little bit. No, yeah, but like because on the Screen Rant side, we're doing some best of articles. We mentioned Ben's has one about the endings, but so one of mine's is like the best moments or the most shot. It was the best moments, but then ended up becoming the most shocking moments in manga, and I ended up putting in One Piece in there. But not Chainsaw Man. I did One Piece instead of Chainsaw Man. So, but it was, but yeah, I did it. So there's One Piece in there. So, yeah, just had to shout that out. But also on another thing, like completely not related to anime at all, but just really stoked that I was able to like interview basically the whole cast of Emily in Paris. And that one is now up. It released it on the day that the season 3 premiere date. But gotta say, love the freak out of that show, and you probably, knowing me, know why I love it so much. But yeah, if you haven't watched Emily in Paris, watch the heck out of that thing if you like rom-coms. So.
Well, I would love to ask which One Piece moment, but I think we'll just tease it and have people go check out your Screen Rant about it. I'm going to do that myself. But yeah, one last plug on me from Screen Rant. I am kind of exhausted right now. I spent like 3 days writing a single huge encompassing thing of the creators of Elden Ring and Bloodborne and Dark Souls, huge fans. Hooray, Elden Ring won Game of the Year. But they announced their next game, return to the mech action series Armored Core with Armored Core 6. And I thought it'd be fun to like research the story so far. I didn't realize that there's been 18 games and 3 reboots. So me picking to do a story of the story so far of Armored Core was a big task, and I submitted it this morning, so it's got to get edited, but that should hopefully be available for your reading pleasure on Screen Rant, so go check that out as well. But enough plugs and recommendations. We'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you guys for your time. It was great talking to you and hearing your thoughts, and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, see y'all then.
Peace.